Hi guys, my name's Chris Meston and welcome to a Path to Purpose podcast. Have you ever walked away from a conversation wishing you had said something that was really on your mind? Maybe you held back an opinion, ignored a boundary, or let an opportunity pass because you felt too uncomfortable. Today we're exploring what happens when we silence ourselves, and why finding the courage to express what's true can change the direction of our relationships, our confidence, and our lives. This is a Path to Purpose. Hey friends, what is going on? Welcome to another episode on a Path to Purpose. Have you guys ever found yourselves in situations where you just don't know what to say? Cat has your tongue, maybe you're holding your breath, and you just can't get the words out of your mouth. Guys, it happens all the time. Maybe you're in a heated discussion with a family member and you can't just let them know how you really feel. Maybe your friend's pouring out their hearts to you and there's something that you really want to let them know, but you're holding back because you don't want to hurt their feelings. Maybe at work you have that really difficult coworker and you're really apprehensive about interacting with them and you find yourself walking on eggshells throughout the shift. You could find yourself in a public environment interacting with a stranger and you really feel that urge to strike up more conversation with them, but the nerves kick in and you decide to just keep silent. Guys, there are people out there who are great speakers who have no problem saying what's on their mind. Charisma oozes off their lips. Boldness is something that just comes naturally to them. But let's face it, guys, for the most part, a lot of us, we have struggle speaking our mind. And the purpose of this podcast, this discussion today is I'm going to be speaking my mind from personal experience. But I really want you to understand the importance of being able to regain your personal voice and to, most importantly, live with integrity and purpose and honesty. And so in today's conversation, we're going to be discussing why we hold back in these situations, the hidden cost of staying silent, and the missed opportunities and new connections that we can create when we're able to get outside of our comfort zone. And ultimately, I really want you guys to be able to find the courage to express yourself, communicate honestly, and stop letting silence shape your life like it's done so many times for me. So let's get into it. So why is it that we end up holding back in all these different types of scenarios we find ourselves in? Why do we keep silent? I think a big part, guys, is the fear of conflict that we have. We don't want to disappoint others. If we say what's on our mind in any environment that we feel in, there's always a potential, guys, of people having differing opinions, really heightened emotional responses from other people. We might not want to disappoint our friends if we let them know how we feel or perceive a certain topic or element of conversation, and so as a result we'd rather just keep quiet because we don't like to ruffle the feathers. And for those people pleasers out there, which I'm definitely speaking to myself, this can be a big reason why a lot of us just would rather to keep silent, to not say anything at all. Other reasons of holding back is just having the fear of being misunderstood or judged by other people. Especially if you have attempted to speak your mind in the past and if you feel that it hasn't been received in the way that you were hoping, man, that's a really horrible feeling to know that people just don't really fully understand or on the same page as to whatever you try to get off your chest. And let's face it, guys, we don't like to be judged. And so a lot of us would rather just not to say anything at all, just so we can keep the peace. We want to avoid that type of discomfort. Another big reason why a lot of us will just keep quiet is because we overthink about the perfect words to say. Guys, I'm so guilty of this, especially creating podcasts like this. I often find myself overthinking way too much about how polished or articulate I want to come across, and I end up re-recording or choosing not just to say certain parts of the script I created for myself because I'm afraid about how you guys will think about it. And it's not only in podcasting, guys, it's even in general when I am thinking about having delicate conversations with certain people and I want to really present myself in the right way so that other person isn't going to get offended. And then I overthink too much and then I just say, screw it. I'm just not going to say anything at all. So for you overthinkers out there, you're not alone, okay? I've definitely fallen into that trap of not being able to just get off my chest what I really want to say. I'm an overthinker, but I'm working on it. A lot of people just wait for that right moment, right? That right moment that never comes. So we end up just postponing it down the road and we think to ourselves, you know what? I'm gonna table this. I'm gonna come back to it in a couple days. But eventually we always end up postponing those, guys, because the right moment rarely presents itself. Sometimes we just need to say what's on our mind in the moment and stop waiting for perfect conditions. Guys, there is a cost, right? There are consequences when it comes to not speaking our mind and when it comes to being honest and authentic and having integrity when it comes to how we operate in this world. And every time that we delay, we overthink, we want to keep the peace, we want to not cause any discomfort within ourselves. Every time we make those decisions, we're going to be paying for it, guys. And first and foremost, this consequence is always to ourselves, okay? Over time, a lot of people feel like they get mistreated, right? As a consequence of not speaking up. What happens, at least from my life, is over time, we're going to continue to tolerate unfair treatment towards ourselves, especially if you're someone that has been taken advantage of in the past. Guys, I have suffered with this in the past where I haven't spoken up for myself. And over time, if you don't set boundaries or if you don't tell other people how you feel, and it doesn't matter what the situation is, whether it's at work, whether you're in a friend environment where you feel like you're really being taken advantage of or really being overlooked, maybe you're being treated unfairly and it's just building up over time and you want to say something to that person, but you don't really think it may be a big deal. But internally, it's catching up to you. It's really affecting you. And guys, over time, if you're not willing to say the hard thing, to be able to speak up for yourself, or just to be honest to somebody that you feel is really just not being fully real with you, over time, guys, that's going to continue to roll and get more intense, right? If a person feels like they can walk over you or say certain things that may bother you, and if you don't speak up for yourself or if you tolerate mistreatment of over time, it's only going to get worse. And they're going to continue to think that they can act and treat you in a certain way. And you're not going to have that boldness to be able to defend yourself in any situation. And so over time, you may feel like you are a mat that people can just walk over because they think that you're cool with however they're treating you. Guys, this is passive mistreatment and this is a consequence over time. Guys, I've dealt with this over the years. When I was younger, I was more meek and shy and I wanted to keep the peace. And over time, I had this reputation of just being somebody that people can tease because I could take it. I would laugh it away. I would joke it around. I'd play it off. But guys, over time, that plays a toll on your self-esteem. And so if you find yourself in a situation like that, I really want you to hear me out on this and just to understand that this is something that I don't want you to get in the habit of accepting as the status quo. all right? If you're being unfairly mistreated, taken advantage of over time, please understand that this is not right. It's not cool. And it doesn't matter how long it's been going on, guys. You can interrupt that pattern right away. And I hope this podcast will equip you to be able to do that. You know, guys, over time, when we're not speaking up, the invisible contributions that we give, they get more and more invisible. So what I mean by this is, if you're feeling like you're overlooked, misunderstood, or passed over in any environment you find yourself in, if you're not willing to speak up for yourself and defend yourself, or to toot your own horn when it deserves to be done, right? A lot of people are silently working away and doing really good things, but sometimes the environments we find ourselves around, people aren't fully aware or recognizing the type of efforts and contributions that you guys can bring. And sometimes it's important for us to speak our mind and to remind people that we do contribute and that we are bringing something of value in our lives. And we'll just give you guys a couple different examples. If you find yourself at work and you're a hard worker, and maybe you're doing things behind the scenes when no one's looking that are really important and that contribute towards the value that you bring in the workplace. And if you find that you are being unfairly overlooked or judged based on your performance or the value that you bring, sometimes, guys, you got to speak up for yourself. You know, especially if you find yourselves in a meeting with a manager or in a conversation with a coworker, and maybe they're pointing out something that they feel that you are lacking, or something that you have been working towards, but they feel that it's not being done. Or in any other situation, guys, in the workplace, you know what I'm talking about. We got to be able to stick up for ourselves and to let them know that, hey, guys, you know, this is what I'm doing, right? Because it really hurts when we feel that the contributions that we're making, especially in the workplace, aren't being seen. Sometimes we're being misunderstood as well in the workplace. Sometimes people just don't understand the type of intention and why we're doing what we're doing and how we're spending our time. And guys, this happens so much. Like, I feel in the workplace, there's so much tension that people deal with. There's so much offense that people take. And a lot of that also is just due to people not being willing to be honest and expressing themselves in the right way when it comes to the work that they're doing, or maybe the areas that people aren't seeing. You know, not even in the workplace as well, guys, but maybe even around the house, or maybe even with your friends, right? Maybe you need to get some things off of your chest and let people know in your life who you really care about, who you feel aren't fully taking appreciation about the type of person that you are. And you need to remind them, you know, you need to remind that friend that you've been there for them for a very long time. And maybe you're not fully appreciating the way that you're being perceived by, you know, your friends or your family members about what you're doing. Guys, we have to be able to speak up for ourselves and to let other people know about the efforts and the types of contributions that we're bringing in our life. And I've seen the effects of this, guys, in my own family's life. My mom is such a hard worker, and she often gets overlooked. People above her in different positions, or even her friends. Even in my wife's case as well, it can be so easy for other people not to see the work and the love and the type of intention that we bring to other people and situations in life. And so we need to be able to speak up for ourselves when it comes to what we contribute in this world, guys. And it's not about being selfish or trying to toot our own horn in that particular way out of pride, but we got to speak up for ourselves, whether it's in the workforce, whether it's with our friends, with our family. We got to be able to understand that we got to be able to, in a proper way, speak up for ourselves when it comes to the value that we bring. Guys, over time, your self-worth will continue to erode the more and more that you hold yourself back. Guys, our core confidence and our self-esteem gets damaged when we choose to leave certain things unaddressed. Guys, you know what I'm talking about. You want to say something that's really on your mind to someone. Maybe you want to speak up for yourself because you feel you're being unfairly judged or categorized, or maybe every time someone is trying to criticize you or put you down, even with good intentions on their end, and every time you hold your tongue because you're afraid of being able to articulate yourself and to defend yourself in a situation, and so you'd rather just leave it be for the time being. Every time, guys, that we hold back when it comes to speaking up for ourselves, we lose a part of our confidence and our self-esteem. And I just really want to encourage you guys that it's not worth it, right? At the end of the day, you are your own person, and we can't control how other people are going to react or to take what we have to say. But guys, a big part of our confidence and our self-esteem is being able to speak up for ourselves, no matter how the outcome is going to be on the other side. The more that we hold our tongue, the more that we shy away from saying what we need to say, guys, it's going to chip away. And it has chipped away for many years on my end, and I'm going to be getting a little bit further into examples on my personal life, how this has happened. But your self-worth gets eroded, guys, the longer that we choose to remain silent. Guys, there's also this comfort trap, right? We sweep things underneath the carpet because we don't want to ruffle feathers. So we sacrifice our personal peace of mind and our mental health because we want to avoid that type of conflict and we want to keep others comfortable. You may find yourself in a conversation with a loved one, and you know that there is something about the direction of their life that things are going, or maybe the way that it's affecting your relationship with them. Maybe they're just going down a path that's destructive, and you're really apprehensive about wanting to say something. And so you just decide to ignore it, right? It's much easier for us just to sweep certain sensitive issues underneath the rug. And what happens, guys, is we think that we are getting some type of comfort and peace in the meantime. But guys, down the road, that ball that we end up rolling gets bigger and bigger. And that conversation, the longer that we delay it, the harder it is. Sometimes the best thing to do, guys, in situations like that, those really difficult conversations that you keep talking yourself out of, Sometimes the best thing to do is just to address it right away. Rip that Band-Aid off. Guys, I have swept so many things underneath the carpets over the years, and trust me, from personal experience, it's never worth it. So we just discussed, guys, the consequences when it comes to how it affects you as a person, how it affects your inner peace, your mental health, your self-worth, the invisible contributions that go unnoticed. But there's a really big part also of how we suffer as a result of staying silent. And guys, this is when it comes to missed opportunities, connections, and reconciliation with other people and the world around us. For example, guys, if you probably can relate to this, whether you're single in a relationship, it doesn't matter. I'm sure there have been situations in your past, whether it was from high school or early adulthood, whenever the circumstances have arrived, there have been times, I'm sure, where you've been around a person that you really care about, like a romantic interest, and you really want to let them know how you feel. You could find yourself in a situation where you're maybe wrapping up a date with them, you're on the phone, you're in any social interactive environment, and there's this perfect opportunity for you to just let them know how you feel, how much you really like them. But for some reason, insecurities, fear of being vulnerable, it kicks in and you end up don't saying what you want to say. Guys, these opportunities do cost you, okay? And I know what you're thinking. If I said what I wanted to say and they don't take it the way I want, that would be way worse. So that's the reason why I wanted to hold my tongue in that particular situation. Guys, it doesn't matter. Like, one of the biggest reliefs that you could have when it comes to saying what you need to say is staying true to yourself and leaving it all out. Right? There's something really liberating and free about that. And the cost of regret of not telling someone how you feel, it's always going to haunt you. And so I don't know what your situation is. Maybe you have someone in your life right now that you've been on the fence about letting them know how you really feel. Guys, just go ahead and say it, right? Having a missed opportunity for someone that could be really great for you just because you didn't want to be vulnerable, I wouldn't really want to take that chance if I was single in the future. Now, thank the Lord, I am with my wife who I love dearly, and I'm so glad I was able to be open and honest with her about how I felt about her. I didn't let fear or any of those things hold me back. I don't want the same for you guys. So don't allow those missed romantic connections to go by when you feel that you want to keep whatever you want to say to yourself. Please don't. Another missed opportunity, guys, is stagnant growth, right? A lot of us need help in life. In fact, every coach needs a coach. As a trainer, of course, I needed a personal trainer. But the thing is at some point in time, guys, we're going to need to be able to speak up and to reach out to other people when it comes to our own personal growth and development, self-improvement in life. And I don't really care whatever that direction is. You know, whether it's a personal trainer that you want to have a consultation with and be honest about the direction of where your health and your lifestyle has been going. Maybe you need to get in touch with a psychotherapist or a counselor or even a coach, and just to be real about what you're not happy with, about what's going on in your world. And you decide to hold off because you don't want to be vulnerable. You don't want to seek professional help or to get the mentorship of a coach or anyone else that you think can really help you. And guys, when we decide to stay silent, whether it's out of fear or out of pride or out of vulnerability, that really holds us back when it comes to the type of growth that we can experience in life. And so a lot of us would just choose to go through whatever situation, whatever challenging chapter in our life can be. A lot of us choose to go through it alone. And I can speak from experience, you know, over the years, suffering from loneliness and the difficulties of going through a divorce. I thought I could go through it alone. And it wasn't easy. And I'm really glad I was actually able to, you know, suck up my pride and go see a therapist and speak to other people who have been able to go through these types of situations in the past and who knows what it's like. Guys, don't be afraid to be open and vulnerable to other people who can help you, because I'm telling you, when we do allow those guardrails to go down, man, that can really cause some massive growth in our life. So don't allow that missed opportunity of someone that can help you. You know, another opportunity that we can miss out on, guys, is delayed honesty. We talked about this, postponing tough conversations out of guilt and fear of hurting a loved one's feelings. The more that we delay those types of conversations, guys, the more that it costs us our ability to be honest in general with ourselves and with other people. This is a really big thing, guys, because in life, these values of integrity and honesty and operating out of these virtues, they're important. They're important for ourselves, for the decisions that we make and the relationships that we keep. And the more that we kick the can down the road and the more that we stay silent when it comes to the moments that really matter the most, the more it's going to cost us the opportunity to be honest with ourselves and other people. And guys, the more that you get older in life, the more important it is that you're going to have to realize that honesty is really important, because it allows us to look at our conscience and to look at our life from a clean slate. And we want to be authentic. We want to be honest to ourselves. A lot of us also sacrifice our future, right? So what we do is we choose that temporary comfort, right? Sweeping things underneath the rug, delayed action. And when we do that, we actually jeopardize the quality of the relationships and the conversations that can change your future. Guys, this is a big one, right? Our futures are so important, and there's so many possibilities of how our life can go, but it really is dependent on the actions that we take, how we're able to communicate ourselves. And so the more that we stay silent in certain situations, maybe not having that conversation with that boss about your career journey or your development plan, the more that you avoid certain conversations, maybe with other people that you think can really help you, the more it's going to cost your future. Opportunities for the direction of how your life can go can really be missed when you choose to stay silent and not to get out of your comfort zone and say things. Guys, there have been a lot of situations in my life where I have decided to speak up, to speak to that stranger at a social gathering, or to reach out to somebody that I thought could really help me. And there have been times, guys, when I have created connections with people, when I've chosen to have courage to be able to get outside of my comfort zone and to really speak my mind, that have really shifted the way my life has gone. I have created friendships. I have created job opportunities and just directions in my life as a result of me choosing to get out of my comfort zone and introduce myself to different people, speak up for myself, in so many different situations, guys, whether it's friendships, job opportunities, and growth that I was able to step into, the quality of relationships, because I was choosing to be honest and real with people in my life. All these things affect our future and our lives. And this is a big one when it comes to missed opportunities. So I really want to challenge you guys. Our destiny and our future really hinges on our ability to be able to just be open and honest and being willing to speak to people. It's a big thing as well. Guys, there's a difference between temporary comfort as well as long-term peace. I have found in the past, when I have held my tongue, when I have just chose not to go into certain elements of discussion with people in my life in these different situations, I thought that I was gaining some peace as a result of it. But over time, guys, long term, it was completely the opposite. In the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, like, man, what would happen if I just would have said what I said? And this is a really big one, guys. You don't want to experience that long-term, regret, that uneasiness. And so I really want to encourage you guys that even though you may feel good in the moment by delaying certain conversations or not speaking up for yourself, having that conversation with somebody, over time, trust me, your long-term peace will be jeopardized. So don't miss out on the opportunity to regain that long-term peace by saying what you need to say. That's so important, because I'm telling you, there's an emotional weight of carrying things that we never get to express. And listen, guys, I'm not going to lie to you. I still struggle with this. There's still certain things that I keep bottled up in my mind and heart that I know that if I don't address it, if I don't really be honest with what I need to say to certain people in my life, man, it's going to get heavier and heavier. And unfortunately, this is a trend within my family environment. A lot of people just stay distant from other people. They allow pride to kick in. And the longer that you wait, guys, the harder it is to be able to say what you need to say. So, guys, when it comes to personal examples throughout my life, I know I've weaved in a few different examples, but I just want to expand and let you guys know about how it's cost me in the past and how I've struggled with saying what I really want to say. You know, there have been situations, guys, where I've been in, arguments. We all get into arguments throughout our life. It's part of the human condition. And there have been times when I've just cowered. I didn't want to say what I wanted to say because I'm a people pleaser by nature. I do not like conflict. And there have been times in my past, whether it was arguing with, my brother, my friends, my parents, other people, where I just held my tongue. And listen, guys, I want to differentiate something. There may be some things that you guys want to speak on that you really want to say that aren't best to be said. Like, we're talking about things that we would regret, offensive things that we don't really mean, but when it comes out of our mouth, it's too late. I'm really not talking about that. I'm talking about just having the courage to be open and honest when you find yourselves in these tense situations, to really just be real with that other person. And I've struggled with that all throughout my life. I have just decided to keep the peace and to not allow this tension to get the best of me. And I have done that at the peril of not being open and honest about people that I've had arguments with. And it sucks. It sucks to walk away from those exchanges not being honest about yourself. I've also been witnessed to argumentative, heightened interactions with other people where I feel that I should have chipped in and provided wisdom or at least perspective towards both of those parties that I found myself in the middle of. And guys, I've been involved in that quite a bit throughout my life. I've always felt that I've been that middle guy. And here's the thing. I have found when I've remained silent and have not said anything, often both parties actually get more frustrated because they want me to say what's on my mind. And so, yeah, I've struggled with that, guys. I've struggled in situations where I've had the opportunity to provide, a different perspective or a balanced opinion that I thought could really help people who were in the situation. But I held my tongue because I didn't want to get involved or be at risk from upsetting one person. So I just kept silent. Guys, don't be like me, right? I'm working on this. I'm getting better at being bold and saying what I think needs to be said. But these are areas that I've struggled with. I have found myself, guys, in relationships, romantic relationships in the past where I knew something wasn't right. I knew that probably the direction of this relationship and where it was going wasn't going to be right for me. But out of fear of loneliness or insecurities, of not wanting to offend or hurt the other person's feelings, I have remained silent. And that really caught up with me down the road when eventually these relationships were ended. And if I was honest with myself earlier about how I was feeling or the direction or the trend of where this relationship was going, whatever issues that I decided not to speak up on, it cost me in the future, guys. And so, yeah, I'm sure you guys can relate, right? If you find yourself in a situation right now, where you feel that something needs to be said, just say it, guys, because trust me, a lot of people struggle with it, right? They don't want to address the hard things. And this just doesn't have to apply just to being in relationships, right? It could also apply to friendships as well, right? In the past, I told you guys, I used to get teased ever since I was in elementary and even through high school. And let's face it, even through the adult years, we become a little bit more mature in how we handle it. But I've allowed myself to be kind of like a bit of a doormat in the past. And I have avoided just kind of sticking up for myself and being like, hey guys, I know you're joking around, but when you say this, it really does kind of bug me. It doesn't sit right with me. I would really appreciate it if we can just kind of tone down this particular area. I wish I was able to say that more often in the past, but I have struggled with just sticking up and speaking up for myself when I felt like I was being unfairly targeted or overlooked. Whether it was with certain groups of friends, even at work. There were many times throughout the years when I really wanted to go back in time and to get a redo on how those conversations went. But I've struggled with those things. Guys, I've struggled with taking ownership and responsibility when I've hurt other people. And that's a big one. A lot of people, I think, do struggle with this because it's not easy to admit that we're not right, where we've screwed up, how we've hurt other people. And I've gotten better at this over time, of course, but I'm just being open and honest with you guys. I've struggled to take ownership verbally to people in my life who deserved to receive apologies or deserved to be understood how my actions have affected them. So I'm sure this is something that you can relate to as well. Guys, I've struggled to say things that were on my mind, whether it was in larger discussion groups, whether it was at certain interactive events, workshops, friendship gatherings, any type of gathering with other people where we have an opportunity to provide our thoughts and perspectives. I've struggled with a shyness, a lack of boldness just to say what I really felt on particular subject matters. And that sucks, guys. It sucks walking away from those situations knowing that we didn't say what we really wanted to. Even when offensive things are being said around us, we may find ourselves in situations, I know I have, where I have been witnessed other people just being treated really unfairly. And there have been times when I've struggled with the courage and the boldness to be able to stick up for other people. Mind you, there's also been other times when I have spoken up and I've been so grateful for, but this is something that I think that I could definitely still work on, especially in public, guys. Especially when we really don't know, how our words are going to be received. But sometimes those moments are the most important ones, guys, to be an advocate and to be able to speak up to injustices that happen in our environment. Guys, there have been so many moments when I just felt like being silent felt like the safer option. And over time, when we allow our silence, like I just described to you in all these different environments, when we allow those things to continue, they become a habit. And over time, that habit grows and grows, and it affects all these areas of our life that we just talked about. And so I really want to encourage you guys to choose courage over comfort in these situations. Because I'm telling you, the more that we're able to speak our mind and to be open and honest with ourselves, the more our confidence is going to be built, the more that we're going to be willing to say the tough things. And over time, that will increase our ability to just say it more easily, more confidently, and most importantly, with more integrity. Guys, this is a big part of the importance of being able to speak our mind in any of these situations. Integrity is so important, guys, because at the end of the day, this is your life we're talking about. This is your being, and this is your ability to go through life being able to be open and honest and feeling true to how you live this life on this earth, I should say. So I really want to differentiate something, guys. Speaking your mind doesn't mean being aggressive or bombastic or infringing, too aggressively how you feel on someone else. Speaking up with integrity doesn't mean everything that you say needs to be right and polished. It doesn't have to be saying everything without the consideration of others, right? It is a delicate balancing act when we want to articulate ourselves to other people. But it does mean being honest with ourselves and with other people. Guys, healthy self-expression, what I mean by this when it comes to honesty is there's a really important aspect of life when we're able to verbally communicate, to be open, to just share with whatever is on our mind. When we're able to be honest with what we're talking about, it's so liberating, guys. And sometimes when we're honest with other people, it's not always going to be received in the way that we like. And sometimes it does get received because a lot of people will have more respect for you for being honest with what you're going to say. But we have to be willing to understand that when we choose to be honest in the right way, in the right balanced way, it's for us, right? And hopefully it's for other people. I want to give you guys an example. There was a moment when I got into the industry that I'm working in right now, early on, within my first week of work at a group home. And there was a shift. I was working with somebody early in the morning, and she just wasn't being nice in the way that she was communicating what she was saying to me. She was giving me directions on different processes and things about the house that was relevant for me to understand to my position. But the way she was saying it was just so rude. And guys, like, it was bothering me. And there was a moment throughout that shift, I found an open opportunity to be able to speak to somebody, to speak to that particular individual who was really, like, it was really bothering me, the tone that she was speaking to me. And I decided to, in a very polite but direct way, let her know about how I felt, the way she was speaking to me. And guys, it was nerve-wracking, being able to call this person out, not in an aggressive way, but in an honest way, being able to stick up for yourself. And when I did that, guys, it was so liberating. And you know what? I was so grateful. She actually took it really well. And she took the time to let me know that no one else was really ever that open and honest with her about conversations like this that can be a little bit tense. And she actually had a lot more respect for me as a result of me being very honest about how the tone that she was speaking to me, how it actually bothered me. And so I'm getting this, I guess, this lesson to you guys as a result is there's a lot of relief and liberation that happens when we're able to be honest with other people. And I'm telling you guys, people will respect you for it. But if they don't, you will have a respect for yourself when you're able to say what you need to say, right? And that respect issue is so important. Guys, when you speak with integrity and when you say what you need to say, guys, you are expanding and you are putting boundaries in place. And that's so important, especially if you've been someone that has been walked over in the past. If you feel that your boundaries have been skewed and that you feel that you don't have just proper guardrails and appropriate boundaries throughout your life, when you are able to say the hard things, guys, it allows you to be able to decrease your stress and to be able to create healthy boundaries, right? Like, I'm sure you've been there where someone has really bothered you with the way they've been treating you or the way that they've been adding stress to your life. And you feel that, like, man, you're crossing a line, like, this isn't cool. When you're able to just be free and just to be open and honest with other people, when you're able to have those boundaries set and when you're able to just speak up for yourself, that adds so much value when it comes to how you look at yourself and how you look at different elements of your life. And I just want to encourage you guys, don't be afraid to set boundaries with people. Don't be afraid to talk to them. Let them know that, hey, you know what, like, I feel this was going a little bit too far the way you were speaking to me, right? And you guys will know what those boundaries look like. But that's a very important component because a lot of people feel like they don't have respect from other people when it comes to boundaries in our life, and we need to have them. It's very important. Vulnerability, guys. This is probably one of the most freeing things that we can come out with. I talked about it when it comes to missed romantic connections, saying the hard things to friends or family members, but you guys got to leave yourself open to say what you need to say. There's something so beautiful and freeing when we're able just to be vulnerable with how we're feeling. And it doesn't matter what the situation is, right? Whether it's the person that you decide to pour out and be honest about how you feel, about how much you really like that person. When it comes to having a conversation with a coworker or a boss about how you feel that you've been mistreated, or the work that is being overseen that you're doing, how you feel about how much this person may have hurt you, and you want to let them know about the toll it's been taken on your life. Guys, in any environment where we hold ourselves back from speaking, if we're not being vulnerable, we're not being real and honest about the respect that we have for ourselves. And in my experience, guys, I know that people feel that they can get hurt even more after being vulnerable. But guys, it's not so much always about the other person, but it's about being real and honest with yourself. And when you're able to be vulnerable, guys, it's very freeing, and it's very restorative to your mental health and to your purpose. You know, guys, there's a connection between speaking up and also living with integrity. And I just want to wrap up this particular point that I'm talking about on. The more that we're able to stick up for ourselves, to be open and honest and vulnerable, and to get out of our comfort zone, the more that you stay true to who you are as a person and your purpose, guys. It all ties in together. You're going to be able to hold up your head higher at the end of the day. You're going to experience this peace within your heart. And if there's something that's on your heart, guys, if there's something that you really feel instinctually that you need to say, we all know those situations, right? Where you're like, man, like I got to share what's on my heart. The more that we do that, guys, the more that we live with integrity. And so that's a huge part of it as well. Have the courage to have difficult conversations with people. This is what I really want to challenge you guys, okay? There's a couple action items I want you to walk away out of this conversation, okay? This is very, very important when it comes to taking small actions when it comes to restoring your voice, all right? I want you guys this week to start with one honest conversation. And listen, it doesn't have to be tackling the hardest conversation that's been on your mind the last couple weeks. Just start with something small. I want you to think of one person or a situation lately that you've been holding back on, right? That you've been avoiding. It could be expressing appreciation to somebody, setting a boundary that you feel has been overstepped. It could be asking for help from somebody, or sharing something that's been weighing on you for a while and you feel like you need to let that person know. Again, it doesn't have to be the most pressing issue, but it should be something that has been affecting you over the time. And I want you to focus on just initiating one honest conversation with that person. Guys, courage isn't built by waiting until you're fearless. It's going to grow every time that you choose honesty over avoidance. So that's number one. Number two, I want you to ask yourself, what is my silence costing me? Before staying quiet, I want you guys to pause and reflect on what you're protecting in that moment, what you're giving up. Because every time we do it, guys, we talked about the consequences of being quiet and not saying with what's on our mind. And so when you find yourself in a situation where you are being tempted to just keep quiet for whatever reason, I want you to ask yourself, what's this costing me? Are you preserving your temporary comfort at the expense of your peace of mind? Is your peace of mind being a cost as a result of you staying quiet? Do you find that in these situations, the more that you ignore it, the more lack of peace you're having? Be real with it in that moment, saying, if I don't speak up right now, Is this what is going to cost me? Am I going to have a lack of peace? What about your confidence? Is your confidence going to take a hit each time that you decide not to speak up for yourself, to vouch for yourself, right? Are you missing out on opportunities that really matter for you? Every time that you shy away from speaking to that particular person that you think you could really gain a lot of value out of interacting with, is that going to cost you your confidence every time that you decide not to follow through with that conversation? Guys, sometimes the discomfort of speaking up lasts a few minutes, but the regret of remaining silent lingers much longer. Guys, your voice, it doesn't need to be the loudest in the room to matter. It doesn't. Contrary to what other people think, you don't need to be screaming in the other person's face or to get your point across in a much more intense manner for your voice to matter. Every time that you choose honesty, right, integrity and courage, guys, you're taking another step towards becoming that person that you were meant to be. Speaking up isn't about perfection, okay? This is something that I've learned, that I've been honest with you guys. It isn't. It's about being authentic. It's about being real with yourself, being honest with yourself and the other people, regardless of how it's being received. Guys, ultimately, every time that you find your voice, what you're doing is you're reinforcing something that's really important. You're validating your presence and your purpose in this world. And guys, a path to purpose, this is what it's all about. This is the reason I decided to do this podcast, because I have been apprehensive about creating these podcasts, about coming up with these different episodes. You know, I have been tempted to stay silent, but ultimately I'm doing this because, of course, I want to impact your life, but I also want to leave nothing on the table. I want to know that I've been true and honest and authentic towards the purpose that God has given me. And I really choose, and I really hope that's the case for you guys as well, right? I really hope that you can walk away from this conversation feeling more encouraged to be able to let your voice shine in this world. And the more that we do that, guys, I'm telling you, the more that we're going to be at peace with ourselves, our purpose, and how we're operating and living out in this crazy, awesome, beautiful life. All right, guys, this conversation is done. I'm so glad I was able to speak my mind with you guys, and I'm looking forward to next week's conversation. Until then, take care.